Welcome back to the Kumite Lifestyle Podcast. In this episode, we sit down with none other than Gabby Sisti, an incredible martial artist from Windsor, Ontario, who recently earned her black belt in Isshinryu karate. What makes this interview special is that it was recorded before her black belt test, so you'll get to hear Gabby's mindset on preparation and the passion right before reaching that major milestone. We dive deep into her journey, from training through the COVID era and rising to the top of her division at the Isshinryu Karate Hall of Fame, to representing her dojo as a newly appointed ambassador. Gabby opens up about her love for Kumite and competition, her dedication to teaching kids, balancing work and college life, and how martial arts has shaped her confidence and career goals. Her story is inspiring, humble, and powerful, proof that consistency, respect, and heart, you can achieve anything. Tune in now to celebrate Gabby Sisti, the newest black belt in Isshinryu Karate, right here on the Kumite Lifestyle Podcast. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Kumite Lifestyle. Today we were joined by Gabby. And Gabby, say your last name for me just so I don't mess it up.
Sisti, S-I-S-T-I.
Awesome. Yeah, I was pretty sure that's how you said it. I just didn't want to butcher it. But guys, but Gabby, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you. And first and foremost, I want to extend my congratulations to you for being accepted into the ambassador program for the Isshinryu Karate Hall of Fame.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, of course. So let's start there. So I had a chance to meet Gabby I had a chance to see you a couple of times over the years at the Hall of Fame. I know you're an instructor and I've seen some of your students compete, and I think what you're doing is amazing. So I just want to,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. So let's start there at the Hall of Fame. So how did you do at this past Hall of Fame? And guys, for those watching, the Isshinryu Hall of Fame is an event that's held every year in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It draws in Isshinryu practitioners from around the world. And Isshinryu is a karate style from Okinawa. So, like Gabby, like we're both martial artists and we had a chance to compete. So, how did you do at this last event?
So I competed in the advanced brown belt division, and I got first in katas, first in weapons, and first in sparring.
Easy work, right? No, that's awesome. And it shows because I didn't get a chance to watch you the entire time because I was also competing as well. But I've also seen you at another tournament after that, which was the Red Tory Open here in the States, in Hershey, PA. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
that was fun.
yeah, so let's talk about the Hall of Fame because that's such a huge event. And for folks that do Isshinryu, it's pretty special this year because the Hall of Fame is comprised of board members. And coincidentally, both of our instructors are board members. So my instructor is Howard Steele, and your instructor is
Master Alpin.
yep. And both Sensei Howard and Sensei Al have been training for a very long time. So it's cool that both of our instructors are sharing that I would say pretty cool opportunity because the Hall of Fame has really taken off just the last, I would say, couple months with social media. And now we get a chance to be a part of that. And like I said in the introduction, now you're an ambassador. So what does that mean? So now that you're an ambassador for the Isshinryu Hall of Fame, or do you not know yet because that's still kind of in its development?
It's still kind of in its development, but it's just basically us promoting the Isshinryu Hall of Fame and our skill sets and what the Isshinryu Hall of Fame has to offer. So
Yeah, for sure. And you being in your early 20s, I know you have a chance to really not only represent your dojo, but you also have a chance to represent Isshinryu. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting time. It's awesome that there's a lot of new energy on the board, and it just shows through all the social media posts. So pretty cool. So let's backtrack now, Gabby. So I know you've had success as a competitor. So when did you first start your martial arts training? So let's start there.
I started early late COVID. And I think it's been around almost 5 years now. So
Awesome. Yeah. And was that something that you initially wanted to do, or is maybe your family decided, or like what kind of sparked that interest?
so and when I was a kid, around 10 years old, I did kung fu, but it was kind of a little bit too soft for me, and then I kind of took a break, and then I kind of got back into it in COVID because I was just looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's funny because I also teach jujitsu, and one of our students, he actually started during COVID and then took a little bit of a break, and then he came in randomly yesterday, and we were talking
Mhm.
how just the COVID era was pretty crazy. And the fact that people signed up and were doing martial arts during COVID, because I don't know what it was like for you, but at our academy, especially jujitsu being a very contacted, very contact intimate type
Mhm.
activity, like we weren't allowed to actually make physical touch. So I'm curious, was that the same for you guys?
Yeah, it was pretty much the same. But during COVID, like we had like certain rules, like where we would have like stages. So if you hit stage 4, you weren't allowed to like do like physical activities and sports. But like yeah, we weren't like allowed to touch each other very much, and it was mostly like a lot of katas, and we did still do like sparring and stuff, but it was just like it was more like we did other things.
Yeah,
But
for sure. And that's the benefit of karate because while there is the fighting side, the kumite side of it, there's katas and basics that you don't need a partner. So I guess
yeah,
if there was ever a time to do karate, I mean, I feel there's always a time to do karate, but COVID was definitely that, time period because
yeah.
if you didn't want to make contact with partners or students, you had an opportunity just, to do the forms there. Awesome.
Mhm.
When, when is it? I'm sorry. So when during your training did you decide to kind of jump into the competition realm?
Um, so when I was little, I always like did tournaments in Kung Fu, but I didn't really like getting hit. So
I don't think anyone likes
but now
getting
that
hit.
I'm yeah, but now that I'm older, like it's like I like fighting like really spurred the interest, and I really wanted to like learn how to fight other people, and I really wanted to see like what other people are doing in different like martial arts settings, and I
Yeah.
just yeah.
No, that's
Mhm.
awesome. And I'm glad you said that because competition, at least nowadays, because I've spoken to a lot of like the first generation, Isshinryu guys, and they said like competition
Mhm.
was kind of mandatory. So um I wonder like is that the case for your dojo? Does your sensei, is that something I don't want to say force because I don't like that word, but is it kind of mandatory in a sense where okay, like now you've reached a certain spot in your training, is competition kind of expected or not so much?
Um, Not really. It's just for people who have like a competitive edge and want to be challenged, and yeah.
No, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's something that, at least your school has to offer because I remember seeing you
Mhm.
guys at the Hall of Fame, your school, and you guys have adults, kids, teenagers all competing.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty special. So let's talk about that. When you guys are getting ready to compete, let's say at a big event like the Hall of Fame or, the Red Tory Open or just any event, what goes into that preparation? And I want to start with you. So, how do you prepare for a tournament, Gabby? And what is that process like, leading up to, the event?
So usually like I will practice like every single day, but my instructor has something called tournament training where he teaches us um like different modifications we can do to our katas to like impress the judges. So whether that be like fancy hand movements or deeper stances or like breakup points in our katas, like he just teaches us different things that will look better for tournaments.
Yeah. So, it's not really changing so much of karate, but it's more just specifically changing it just for a tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
like
sense.
fine tuning it and making it look more like demonstrative and yeah.
No, for sure. And we see that a lot in tournaments because,
Mm-hmm.
the style we do Isshinryu, there's so many different variations and, we've seen it, whether it's good or bad. But yeah, that's one of the cool things I love about the Isshinryu Hall of Fame is because it's like a melting pot, but you get a chance to really see like all these different schools and academies. And I really feel like, when you're out there competing and you know best, like the competition doesn't lie because you can say you're good, but when you're actually out there, it's like you know what's up. So no, that's cool
Mm-hmm.
that you have that mindset and you're able to be coachable because I've been around, man, like I've been around this for a while now, and I see the kids that do so well, and I think the reason why they have success is because not only are they good students in the dojo, but they're coachable as well, and I'm sure that's been the case for you as well, especially given your success rate. Awesome. So when you're at it, so when you're at an event like the Hall of Fame, and like I tell my students, it's important that you get a chance to kind of get acclimated with the scenery. So if it's your first time
Mm-hmm.
competing, like what advice would you give to anyone competing at, let's say, the Hall of Fame? because we had first time students and maybe you guys have
Mhm.
first time students too. So what are you telling them to kind of help them get ready?
Well, I would tell them to as well as like competing and doing your best to like make friends with others and always show like respect to your judges and shake their hands after you compete and
Yeah.
just to remember to have fun.
Yeah, and that's the key because while the goal is to win, but it is also to have fun. But I think as athletes and competitors, we sometimes I can it's easy for us to forget that because we want to be on top because at least for myself and I know for you, I don't go out there just thinking, "Hey, I'm just going to see how I do." No, I want to, make sure that, all the hard work that we did, shows for that. But no, I think that's cool, And what's awesome about you is, because you're an ambassador going back, to that, now you have a chance to kind of actually not even kind of, you are an influencer now for the next generation. So, when you think of like, kids looking up to you, whether it's your own students or just maybe just a random student from like Texas who's watching you, it's like that's pretty powerful, and it's awesome how people can be like, yeah, like I want to be like Gabby, one day. And it's like Spider-Man, right? Like with great power comes great responsibility. Now that you're now that you're at where you're at in your training, how has that changed from the time you started? Meaning, what type of responsibilities do you feel now as a karateka?
Um, so I'm in the process of going for my black belt right now, so I
Awesome.
feel like more responsibility, like helping other students perfect their katas and um like just like demonstrating proper ways to do things and yeah. And
Yeah.
I also feel like I'm giving mentorship to other students, which is really fun and forming relationships with them. So
Yeah, and that's the best part about what we do because
mhm.
I mean, you could look at it from the competition side where, yeah, we go to tournaments all the time, whether we win or lose, but if you're doing it for the right reasons, I feel like you'll definitely leave with more memories than you will,
Mhm.
your losses because I mean, I remember telling this to my students one time, like you don't always remember how you did, but you'll remember the road trips. Like you'll remember, stopping at all the cool
Yeah.
places on the way and all the people. So, and then of course when you're at the dojo, I mean, like because you've been doing it since COVID, like you said, so there's a lot of
Mhm.
skill sets there. And when you're teaching, I love how you said forming connections because
Mhm.
like we're not just in the business of martial arts. I feel like we're in the people business, so we got to make sure
Yeah.
that we are, building those connections. Awesome. So when you're kind of, yeah, so when you're teaching, right, it's like what's the most challenging part about that? And I ask every instructor because, one could have hundreds, 500 students, but there's always a challenge. So far for you, what has kind of been the challenge when it comes to, how about this, teaching kids and then teaching adults? Because that's two different realms right there.
Yeah. So for me, I think that kids need change, and if they're not getting something, you have to modify it. And then I don't really teach much to the adult classes, but one thing that I struggle with because I'm a point fighter, so I have to make them buy into like speed is everything, and you have to have cardio, and yeah,
Yeah.
like you have to
So
make it them buy into it more.
yeah, so let's talk about that buying into it. How do you have them buy into what you're trying to teach? Because you're good, I know you're good, and your senseis know you're good, but sometimes relaying that information to students can be like, it can be tough. So I'm curious, Gabby, what techniques or what tactics have you used that helps you?
For me, I've used like different like kicking combinations. So like I would throw like, for example, so I throw like a hook round and I would do one to the body and one to the head. Like it's hard for, and I would show them like it's hard to block so many places at once, and I would show them where to apply it on like certain types of the body. So
No, that's cool. And do you feel like your students are able to retain that like in the beginning or like us being students as in we all are like did it take a couple tries for them to finally get it, clicking in?
So usually when I help out at the dojo, Master Pinozola will do most of the explaining. But when I do explain, like if they're not understanding, I will like break it down. So
Awesome. So let's talk about a typical day in the life of Gabby, right? Because I know you're a hard martial artist. So when you're not at the dojo, so, well, yeah, so let's start with that. So when you're not at the dojo, What is your life like?
I usually work. So you guys don't have this in the U.S., but we have a place called Tim Hortons. It's kind of
I
like
know
a
what Tim
Starbucks.
Hortons is.
So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, we actually have
okay.
a Tim Hortons. Actually, yeah, we have a Tim Hortons opening up right in town.
Oh, cool. So I usually work there in the mornings, and then I go to school. I'm in an early childhood education program, which is like becoming a kindergarten teacher. So
Right on.
and then I go to karate after. So
Yeah, so work in school and then, going to the dojo to train. Awesome.
yeah,
And how far are you in with your degree program right now?
I'm in my last year, so I have 2 more semesters left, and that's it.
Man, that's awesome. So you plan to
Yeah,
be a kindergarten teacher.
yeah.
Very cool. And I don't want to assume, but with your relationship with martial arts and teaching kids, I'm sure that kind of helped with your decision.
Yeah, it helped a lot. Like I don't think I would be like where I'm at in like my career without that because it kind of like led me to like doing like what I want to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So so what's that process like to becoming not just a school teacher, but more specifically a kindergarten teacher? Because like I know you go to college for it, but like martial arts, is
Mhm.
there any specific type of training that you go through, since you're going to be working, with young kids?
So basically, throughout our program, they teach us like different interaction strategies and child development. But not only that, they like send us on a placement every semester. So that's like almost like an internship. And then we have something called mentors where they just kind of provide us with different strategies and lesson plans to do with the children. So
Awesome. And is that has that major been challenging for you at all? Because I know it's something that you want to do, but is it something that's like, do you find it challenging or hard for you, Gabby?
no, because when I go to the dojo, like Master Al Penizola showed me a lot of strategies I can use and basically taught me like how to teach and so yeah.
No, no, very cool. Yeah, I've no doubt that you're going to become a phenomenal kindergarten teacher. And man,
Thank you.
oh yeah, of course, you're welcome. I praise you though because so a few years back, I was kind of in the same boat. I wanted to be a educator, but I wasn't exactly
Mhm.
sure what grade I wanted to teach. And someone said, yeah, like if you really want to see what grade to teach, like, be a substitute teacher. So I did that for a
Mhm.
little bit just to kind of see, and kindergarten was crazy. But not crazy in a sense like they were bad, but they're
Mhm.
little kids, and you got to make sure that you're watching them all the time because
All the time.
yeah, because one could, get out the door or, who knows, right? So, no, that's cool that you're doing
Mhm.
that. Very cool. So, do you think so after you're done college and then
Mhm.
you become a full-time school teacher, do you think you'll still be able to balance out your training
All
as
the time.
compared to now? Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see yourself being a lifelong martial artist.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. Yeah, so speaking of that, like when we talk about long term, where do you see yourself in like 5, maybe 6 years, or maybe even 10 years with the martial arts? So like you already have what you want to do in your, I
Mhm.
guess, normal life, which is, kindergarten teacher, which by no means is easy. So again, I praise you for that. But as far as the
Mhm.
martial arts goes, where do you like kind of see yourself?
I kind of see myself like um not only like still competing, but I really want to just keep going with like helping teaching classes because I really like enjoy it. Like after school and stuff, I look forward to it and I have like so much fun doing it. So
Yeah. Any aspirations though to maybe start a school? Is that something that maybe you've had a conversation with your sensei?
um definitely like teaching as an instructor has come up with him, but hopefully one day I'll have my own karate school. But like first, I want to be able to compete myself and um get maybe to like a third degree black belt before I start that. So
Yeah, that's smart because the more experience you have under your belt, because helping and teaching
hmm
classes is one thing, but when you actually have to run your own school or
run it.
run your own club, that's a lot of work. And I'm seeing that
Yeah.
now because I've been a full-time instructor with Sensei Steel now for the last 5, 6 years, and the teaching part's the easy part. Being on the mats, whether it's
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu, karate, but just running the business. Like I tell anyone, if you're gonna get into this, just know what you're getting yourself into. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that say, "Oh yeah, like it's easy just to you just throw on a gi and teach." No, like that's the little part. It's like, can you actually
Yeah.
run the business? So.
Yeah, there's a lot behind that. So.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And it's great that you have a mentor in your sensei. So let's talk about like your relationship with your sensei more from like what have you learned from him that's been pretty life-changing. So I know he teaches you karate, I know he teaches you martial arts, but I feel the
Mhm.
more that we're in this, we really start to build a bond. And you said that earlier, like when we're teaching kids.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like what are some, I don't know, some valuable life tips or kind of things on the go that your sensei or just any instructor that's talked to you and like that's kind of yeah, kind of stood out, that's helped you kind of navigate through life, because life is crazy, and martial arts
Yeah.
kind of helps us stay a little sane. But I'm just curious, what's the relationship with your sensei?
I feel like he's given me like a lot more confidence. Like when I first started karate at his dojo, like I would like barely talk. I was just so quiet and I would be like so shy. Like I remember my first time he made me do warm-ups. Like I was so scared and like now I feel like more confident in what I do. And that's not like only in the dojo, like everything as well. So
Yeah, it's cool. So when he asked you to go up there and warm up, like, were you able to do it, or did you kind of freeze?
I was able to do it, but like looking at it, like when I first did it, I was like so like nervous, and now I don't even care when he asks me to do it. So
Yeah, because you've been up there so many times. Plus, the students know you. I
yeah.
think the biggest fear that we get when teaching is judgment. We think that, the students
Mm-hmm.
are going to think like, okay, what's this person doing? Like, God, they suck. But in reality, they don't think that, because
Yeah.
what I've learned is that if students are already in the dojo and you've already created, a bond, like you said, or any type of rapport, because like, here's something I've learned: people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So you
Mm-hmm.
being a, world class competitor, like they know you're good, so you don't have to sell that. But just getting up there, the nerves, it's almost like competing, I would say, because I mean, we've competed so many times, and I know that when you compete, it's like first couple seconds maybe you're nervous, and then after that, it's like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
So, no, that's cool. So, yeah, I would say that the relationships that you build with your instructors definitely do help, because I know for
Mm-hmm.
myself when I'm teaching, I have a little bit of Sensei Steel in me. I have a little bit of Master Rigby. And then, so I kind of take little bits of different characteristics, if that makes sense, or different personalities when I teach.
Right.
But it's still me though. Like it's still, a
Yeah.
1000% Nick Arndt, but I can tell the students, or like I can give them a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
discipline, but I can also give them a little bit of happiness and kindness, which, of course, that's
Yeah.
what we're all striving for.
Yeah, that's one thing about Master Pinozola. Like he will be able to provide a lot of fun with the children while like emphasizing that we need to be disciplined and serious when it comes to like karate stuff.
Yeah. No, and that's such a fine line, because like if you look at Cobra Kai and these like, old school karate movies, right, you kind of just see like, this badass instructor, where not every kid
Mm-hmm.
learns like that, because
Yeah.
kids, like I mean, especially students nowadays, I mean, you tell a kid to do like push-ups, and oh my goodness, they're going to be like, bawling their eyes out. So I don't know. It's just, I believe there is, careful methods of how you can be a little
Mm-hmm.
hard, but can also be, caring as well, for sure. No, that's awesome. So was there ever a time when you were training, or I don't know, getting ready for a tournament, and I don't know, maybe your sensei, he got on you for something and maybe yelled at you? Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we all have that. So is there a moment that you
Yeah.
can share that, something happened, but it changed you? Like it made you realize, like, okay, I see why we're doing what we're doing now.
Um, for me, it's just like sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm nervous.
Oh no, you're good. Okay, just relax. You're good. No, I was saying like, is there ever a moment in time like when you were like training or getting ready for a tournament, and your sensei or maybe just an instructor came up to you and they like corrected you and you thought in the moment like or like you realize like okay, I see why you corrected me and I see because like there's a reason for everything, you know? And I mean, I've gotten
Yeah,
talking to like so many times. Like I was always a great competitor, but I always love to have sometimes too much fun. So I've gotten my hand smacked a
right.
few times. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
like is that the same for you?
Yeah, sometimes like when I'm with the kids, I like to have like so much fun with them and not enough discipline. So he did talk to me about that, and I feel like it really helped me balance out like fun and discipline, and especially when it comes to like my profession, like it's something that you need to have as well. So it really helped me.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And that's and like Gabby, I can totally sympathize because I was the same way, you know. What I mean, and I still
yeah.
am. I love to compete. I love to, just enjoy my life, but especially in a town like Gatlinburg, right? Because there's so many fun things to
Mhm.
do. But I have to remember, like, all right, like I am here to compete, but at the same time, I think it is a good balance because I was never a fan of
Mhm.
those. I mean, like I used to do AAU and USA and KF
Mhm.
events, and I remember seeing like the schools that would bring in like all these great competitors, but they were like robots. Like you would talk to them and they had no emotion. So
Yeah.
I always loved when I could connect with students. I don't care if you were good or not. If you were just a good, kind, like upbeat person, like I can vibe with that, and like I know some people can't have both. I'm like, why? Because when you're competing,
Yeah.
just be serious. But when you're not, just be lax. But I guess it's just something that, if the instructor's not enforcing that, it can kind of be hard to
Hmm.
kind of like, replicate. But no,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, because I remember at the Hall of Fame, I remember seeing you and a bunch of, I think it was a couple of you and your, fellow students or training partners at the after party. And it's cool how like it's nice when people can kind of, let loose there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
So
having both is important. So.
for sure, uh, but it is a good balance though, and it's nice that you were able to kind of get that, talking to
Hmm.
at an early stage in your life instead of, later on.
Hmm.
Yeah, like especially with your profession about being a teacher, because unfortunately, like what's not unfortunate, but educators, I feel like we're under like a microscope. Like everyone's always watching what we're doing, and I don't know. I mean, like you can agree with it or not, but I think at the end of the day, like you should never stray from who you are, and I
Hmm.
think I think martial arts kind of gives us that, that balance.
For sure.
Yeah, so moving on now. So Kumite lifestyle, as you know, I mean, so Kumite, like you're no stranger to that. It's the actual fighting part, but Kumite
Right.
itself means like, resilience and just, continuing to bounce back. So when you're feeling, I don't want to say down, but like when you're kind of losing that motivation to train, or when you're losing that motivation to go to school or even work, because
Hmm.
we all face it, do you what conversations do you have with yourself, or what reminders do you give yourself to keep going? Because as a champion, everyone can look and be like, oh, like, Gabby's got it together. You're like, Nick's got it together. But the truth is we don't. We all have our bad days. But I'm just I'm curious, like for you, Gabby, how do you keep yourself motivated every day?
So I keep myself motivated because, well, one of the reasons is that I look at other people who have more experiences than me, and I'll be like, oh, I want to be as fast as them, and I want to hit as hard as them, and I want my katas to look powerful like theirs. Or I will just look at other people in my dojo and how they look up to like the different senpais and instructors there, and yeah.
No, that's cool. And so in life, though, you're able to kind of still translate that over into your
Yeah.
everyday. No, that's cool. That's awesome. So kata, kumite, or kobudo, if you had to pick one.
Oh, I think Kumite. I
Kumite,
really love sparring like a lot. It's like my favorite stuff.
yeah, I could have. I think I should have known that. But no, that's cool though. So, what is it about Kumite that you kind of gravitate towards, or like what is it about the fighting aspect of karate that you enjoy so much?
I
And I
just have a lot of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no,
Sorry.
you're good, you're good. No, like, and the reason why I asked that is because you said something earlier in the just now how you've gotten first place in both all three, right? So it's interesting how you like Kumite, but you excel in like all other areas. So let's start with the Kumite. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but what's Like, what is it about Kumite that you enjoy?
Um, well, one thing I really like to do is I like kicking. I think it's like so fun, and I really like at the dojo. I really enjoy like hitting the bags, and like I just think it's fun to like put everything that you're taught into like action, and yeah,
Yeah. And then like, have you ever gotten banged up or hurt, in training?
yeah, yeah,
Really,
quite a bit, yeah.
like any serious injuries or just
Oh no, just like minor stuff, but like a couple of like scratches, bruises, and yeah,
yeah.
the typical,
Yeah, it all comes with with what we do.
right?
Now, I want to ask you this because and I'm glad that you said Kumite, right? So when we talk about point fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that can be a little confusing because I don't know if you watched the Olympics or when karate was in the Olympics in Tokyo, the guy that got the gold medal got knocked out, and the reason why he
Mm-hmm.
won was because his opponent was too much excessive force.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for myself, when people ask me about karate or sparring or just karate in general, I used to struggle telling my friends or people that didn't know anything about what we do because it's like we know what we do and,
Mm-hmm.
and, and like we know how special it is, but everyone thinks karate is Karate Kid or Cobra Kai. It's like this non-stop fighting, but it's not. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if I was like if I never trained before and I said, "Oh, hey Gabby, I see you're wearing a karate shirt." Like under 30 seconds, how would you best explain what karate is? It doesn't have to be 30 seconds, but I'm just saying like what's a short answer for you?
I would say it's like a controlled atmosphere where you can like learn how to protect yourself without getting hurt. And yeah.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, like I agree. And then I love how you said the control part because it can
Mhm.
be controlled, but let's face it, sometimes it's not
Sometimes
always controlled.
it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's cool. So, before we move on, who do you look up to in the martial arts kind of it doesn't have to be like I mean sure it's your sensei, but just like right now,
Mhm.
like in today's society in today's martial arts movement, is there anyone in particular that you look up to for motivation or someone that you want to kind of aspire to be or kind of emulate?
Um, so basically like sometimes I'll watch other people like do fighting or katas on YouTube, and one person that really sticks out to me, I think her name is Sandra Sanchez. She has really explosive power and speed, and I really just want to look like that with my katas. And same with my sparring, I want to have that same explosive power and speed. So
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned the kata part as well. So you talked about your interest and your love for the kumite, the fighting arts, but when it comes to the kata, how would you best explain kata? So what is kata, for you, Gabby?
for me, I just think of it as like a series of moves that you can put into a form, but also apply in real life situations. So,
Absolutely, yeah, because when people watch us do kata, they just like they think it's just a dance and it kind of is,
mhm.
but it's all prearranged movements as we know. But no, like I always find it pretty awesome when, a karate athlete can be great at kata and also great in sparring because,
Mhm.
as we know, sometimes you see it's either one or the other. It's like okay, like they're good
Yeah.
at kata, but they don't really spar, or maybe they choose not to, or vice versa. So you being so well-rounded in all three, I think I think that's pretty special and awesome. So, yeah, I think because I feel like I don't see that, often, especially in
Mhm.
Tennessee, because like you see, it's either you're good at fighting or you're good at kata. So
Right.
very cool. So aside from karate, and I know I asked you this, and I should have asked you this earlier in the show, but do you do any other sports?
Um, no, not really. I used to do softball, but as I got older, like some of my friends moved that I did it with, so I just kind of got pulled away from it a little bit. But yeah,
Like
not really other sports. So.
I, I got you. No, like I was just curious because it's always nice when I get to hear different stories of karate athletes like yourself and how playing other sports definitely helped. So, and I have no doubt you being the competitor that you are, that you were probably competitive in softball as well. Did you enjoy that sport?
Yeah, I did it. It was really fun. I love like hitting and third base was like my position, and I just loved it. So
Awesome. Well, who knows? Maybe down the road, like you'll pick up a bat again and
yeah,
do
maybe.
it again. So speaking of down the road, what's next for you, Gabby? And it could be a martial arts event, could be just life, but what's next for you, like on the horizon?
What's next for me is getting my black belt. Like I really am just like looking forward to it a lot, and I hope I just really do well with that. So
Yeah, I have no doubt that you're doing well like, because you have great instructors, like I said, and like
yeah.
you said. So, what's the preparation for that? So, like, meaning, like, what's your timeline for that? Because I asked what's next. I should have been a little bit more specific. So, when you say like, your black belt, is there a timeline for that, or is there a specific date that you're working for?
The date is October 25th, so it's coming up really
Oh, so
close.
it's
So
like coming up. Got you.
it's
Okay.
yeah,
Got it. Okay. No, so like I don't know if it was like 2 months or 3 months out and you were like in the
yeah.
process. No, that's awesome. So yeah, let's dive into that real quick. So your black belt test, what are you doing to get ready for that, specifically?
So one thing that I really had to focus on is kind of like like focusing more on taking my tournament katas and turning it into evaluation katas. So making my technique slower and making like just really showing like the foundation, like stances, hard strikes, hard punches, and taking all that flash out of the katas
Yeah.
and like
Is that
performing like the bankai of it. And
Yeah, for sure. And is that going to be do you find that difficult for you, to kind of go back and forth?
yeah, because like sometimes like when I compete, like I find like that I have like can have like really explosive breakouts or speed, and the difference between evaluations contests, everything has to be like slower and more precise and show technique overall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get that because like you still want to be able to preserve the traditional side of Isshinryu karate.
right.
Awesome. So one last thing before we go. If there's one thing that you could change about karate, what would it be?
Um, one thing that I would change is like um I think everything should be um like done one way, and I think it should be more of a fun sport. And like I think that there shouldn't be like all these kinds of politics involved and stuff like that. And I think that people got to remember it should be fun as well, and it shouldn't there should be like no sides to it. And yeah.
I agree with you there, and I love how you mentioned about it should be fun and no politics. That's like I
Yeah.
can vibe with that all day for sure. Gabby, this has been awesome. Where can people find you or your school?
So my school is located in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. It's on the Wyandotte and Port Street. Um, and if my Facebook is just my name, Gabby Sisti, if you want to find me. And yeah.
Awesome stuff. And are is there any last minute shout outs or anyone specific that you want to just give credit to right now while like we have you here? Anyone in the world that you can think of that you want to, give them all the love for?
Sure. So other than my instructor, I have my other sensei Bill Gibbs. He's just amazing and
Yeah,
been a real help when it comes to like preparing for evaluations and tournaments. And also just like my training partners, like they've been like so awesome, and we always like work together and push each other to be better. And my parents for taking me to all these tournaments. And yeah.
I love it. Yeah, so giving praise to those that helped you. Well, Gabby, it was great to have you on the show. I'm glad that we got to learn a little bit more about your mindset when it comes to karate and competing. So I'm glad that you
Mhm.
shared that. We also got to venture into a little bit about what you're doing outside of karate and pursuing the education realm. And like I said, becoming a school teacher, but more importantly, a kindergarten teacher. I think that's awesome. And big shout out, to Tim Hortons because Delaware does have a Tim Hortons too. So that's pretty cool. So, Gabby, thank you so much for your time. And I wish you all the best, especially in your upcoming black belt test. I know you're going to do well. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for being on today's pod.
Thank you for having me.